don't know. I'll try this computer. Hopefully that works. All right. All right. We're off and running. So, what? Yeah, quite right. Language wars are great fun for a while, but they're not particularly useful. All right. So there's a whole bunch of queries I had to explore that database. Of course, I didn't want to make them mega relevant to the assignment, so I didn't. But really, one thing is to point out that some queries are going to have no solutions. For example, the second one, because there are no winter semesters in the database. The third one, however, is doable, and I had a query before. And one reason for looking at this was to demonstrate that you can do data arithmetic in Postgres. So ending and starting dates. And if I want to find out how long each term is, I can just subtract the end start date from the end date. And this is actually quite revealing, I think. So 17x1 was summer term and 70 days long, apparently. Then we go to the big terms where we had 2 terms a year, 98. I think these are in units of days, 98 days. Go back to summer term 2018, back to 70, back to the big things. 19T0 was a special one. It was like 70. And look, these goddamn terms are also 70 days long, which is a bit crappy, really. And if you look at summer term these days, that's proper summer term, 35 days. What a joke. All our trimester is summer terms. Yeah, pretty much. They're the same length as summer terms used to be. So what a great idea that was, UNSW. All right. If you have a look at the staff roles table, there's 800 bizarre roles. I won't bother with that one. You can do it. It's really just to select from staff roles. How many people don't have UNSW student staff IDs? This is really only relevant because in an older version of the database, the the ZID was distinct from the ID in the people's table. So there was a serial primary key in the people's table plus a ZID field. So it was possible for that to happen. Now, in the current version of the database, I decided to make the ZID the ID. So, so that gets rid of the need for that query, because obviously people can't exist if they don't have ZIDs. Now, potentially, that's a problem because sometimes you want people in the database who don't actually have ZIDs. If we were seriously using this database for UNSW stuff, we occasionally have fourth year supervisors or assessors from external places like Garvin Institute or whatever. They don't have ZIDs, but you'd probably like them to exist in the database. So I've unfortunately got rid of the possibility for doing that. Let's see. There we are. Find the person who has this ZID. Oh, that's right. Stupid. I'll tell you what, it's much easier to use VI one-handed than other things. right? So that's name of person with that ZID, big deal, not difficult. Students with OOV somewhere in their names. Where are we? Lucky all these ones that I've done before. Nobody has OOV in their name, which is fair enough. Not every query is going to give you some answers. And I decided to try a different string. So I used EEL, EEL. There are a few people with EEL in their names. No, I was using a tilde here because I got lazy and couldn't be bothered typing the percents around the string. So regular expression matching is a little bit simpler to write down. So basically this just says, look for EEL anywhere in the string full name. Whereas if you're using like, you have to say percent EEL percent. And if you don't put the percents in, it'll look for an exact match on EEL. If you put the first percent in, it's going to assume that EEL is the last part of the string. So tildes are a bit convenient, as you will find at some point in the assignment, I believe. Maybe. All right. Some of these things can't answer them because there's no data about lecture theatres in this instance of the database. The second query we could actually answer. I don't think there are any, but oops. And I hadn't answered it. So select course. And so this is what happens when you force to type one-handed. Count student from course. Aha, I should make use of tab expansion, shouldn't I? Course enrollments. And obviously I want to group by course. Yeah. So I've got to exploit all possible mechanisms to minimize typing. Oh yeah, and the actual question was find such courses that have I could have used count star as well, I think would work fine. Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be interesting. Student greater than 1,000, because this is a cut down database. There probably won't be any. Let's try 500, may not even be any like this. Oh, there are a couple. Cool. Of course, this doesn't tell me what subjects they are, so I'd have to do a join on the subjects table, or I know what I could do. Oh, I can be lazy. And so I'm going to get the list of courses. Oh. So I'm just getting the course IDs. So that's the set of courses that I want. And then I could, I'm still going to have to do a join, select s.code. Probably should do term code, it doesn't matter. From subjects, join. where so here I'm being naughty and doing a nested query, but I was too lazy to work out the whole join. Oops. So that's going to give me the set of courses when the enrollment's greater than 500. And hopefully this will give me the subject codes. Now, if I wanted to actually attach the number of course enrollments to the subject code, then I would have had to do a join at the outer level of the query. Oops, what am I doing? Oh, oh, that's easy to fix. Silly, why didn't someone point that out? So that was giving a list of course IDs. Thank you. Wow. And of course, they're all comp courses. That would be the case because the only courses in this, oh no, sorry, there are a lot of courses, but it's basically based on enrollments of CSE majors. So you're likely to find the large courses are CSE courses. No, I'm a bit surprised that something like 1511 doesn't appear. Well, there you go. Which students have taken no courses? Right, the way to answer that would be to use an outer join and look for the course enrollment, or look for the courses being null. Might be worth trying that out. Oh, we want students, don't we? Student. That's not what I want. I want to join people with course enrollments. Look at the speed of this one finger typing. Fantastic. Join course enrollments. E. Oh no, I was meant to do an outer join. Doesn't matter. I'll go back and fix that. On E dot student equals P dot ID. This will give me the names of all the people who are enrolled. Right, fine, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's interesting. You can see they're all coming out in order. Left outer. All right, so this will join people with course enrollments, and if they don't appear, if the person doesn't appear in the course enrollments table, then there's going to be an entry that has the course equal to null. good question. Course. Oh, yeah, thanks. Should have enabled transcriptions earlier. Oh, well, say la vie. Oh, how true. This query actually worked. And I'm in the database as a person, and I'm not enrolled in any courses. Wow, I'm astonished. All right, that's good. So the actual query said which students have taken no courses. So in theory, I should have done a join. Yeah. I should have done a join with the students table to make sure that the people I'm talking about are students. But, you know, I've been lazy in a lot of these queries because 99% of the people in this database are students. How many times has COMP1511 been offered? That's easy enough. You should be able to do it. All right, writing functions. The old version of the database separated the year from the term info. So 18S2 would have come from a tuple that had 2018 and S2, and you're required to put them together. In this database, that 18S2 is already in the term table as the code field. So you could write the function, it would be trivial, but it would simply return the value of the code field. And you could do an SQL function for that. Easy. Right, given a full name for a course, this one's marginally more interesting. Here it's got course ID. What I'd be more inclined to do is give a code like COMP3311 and get it to print out the name of that course or the course title. Yeah, so as it says down the bottom, both functions take an internal ID value as a parameter. Not particularly useful for a user to ask queries, but certainly if you had something in the database, in your Python script, for example, that was producing a course ID, then you could use that. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. All right, this is possible, easy enough to do. You just, so there's an origin field in the people table, I believe. So select origin, if I can spell it correctly, gin count. Tell you what, typing star is tedious. From you annoying thing. The transcription is over the top of my query, so I can't see whether I've got it right. I guess I can always. Oh no, I don't know. From people. All right, let's just run that and it'll tell me I'm wrong and I can get into Vim. That will make life easier. Maybe I should just do all my queries like this. From people group by origin. And in this case, it was asking for top 20. So we have to use the dreaded limit. Whoops, I got to order by count. count. Yeah. What about count limit? Oh, I feel sick even typing that word. 20. If you have to use limit at any point, it always has to be in the context of an order by, because otherwise it's a little bit meaningless. That looks like complete garbage. This shouldn't be a count of 1. Oh, no. Oh, what's going on? What have I done? I did group by origin. Does anyone see what's wrong with that query? Origin, what have I count? Ah, yes, thank you. Exactly. I should have done descending order. Now I've forgotten. I think it's like that. Yes. That's more like it. All right. So, of course, you'd have to do a join with country to work out what those things actually were. And I'm pretty sure 13 is Australia. Get the top 2, 13, 45. Well, they're so far ahead of the others, it's only worth considering. Oh, thank you, transcription. Fell for the oldest trick in the book. I use plural in this database, don't I? Right. Right, so Australia and China, the most popular. Can you answer my previous, oh, sorry. Where was that? Is math functions that raises an interest? Would you compute it at the database level, or would that be too CPU intensive? Yeah, that's an interesting one. It depends. If the function is doing some kind of summarization, like an average or whatever, I would definitely do that in the database, probably something like rank as well. So you don't want to fetch a whole lot of stuff and then calculate something in the program. It's much better to do it in the database, even if you have to write a PLPGSQL function to do it. It's all happening in the database, and you're not pumping lots of tuples along the connection between the database and the program. Yeah. It sounds like you want an answer for some other purpose. All right, so now we finally got to Python. Write a program to display all courses in the term ordered by subject code, number of students, subject code, term, and title. What number of students enrolled in the course? Okay. So we could do this pretty easily with a single query. Ordered by subject code. Okay. So we want the subject code. Let's just start with that, and I'll go back and I'll fix select up now. We want the subject code. That'll do for the time being from subjects S join courses C on C dot. Oops. And then we need to join on terms. Terms. D equals C dot term. And we don't want all terms. So let's just say where. So this is here we're inserting the command line argument that would have come in where I think it's Did I hit return? What's going wrong here? What? This transcription is extremely annoying. C dot what course is C on C dot from C dot course. Oh yeah, C dot subject. I think. It's an offering of a subject in a particular term. So, terms, yes, thank you. Right. So these are all the courses that are offered in 17S2. And if we wanted to extend this, well, so that's a good start for your query for this Python PsychoPT2 script. What else? All courses in term ordered by subject code, or I didn't bother to do that. Number of students, subject code, term, title. Okay. Number of, all right. It's a bit of a weird phrasing of the question. By S dot code. And here I'm, so we need course enrollments involved at this point. Since I'm in the editor, I should make the query look a bit neat, shouldn't I? From subjects. Oh, wow. Join courses. And of course, this makes no difference to the answer I'm going to get, but it's a bit easier for a human to read. And then we need one more join. Tab completion doesn't work in VI. Surprise, surprise. And of course, someone will say it would have worked in VS Code. Maybe. I don't know whether VS Code has a link to the Postgres catalog data. A dot course equals C dot ID. All right, what else do we want? Number of students, subject code, term title. All right. So we're going to have to do a group by, but in order to get everything we want, we're going to have to group by a number of things. Start code. Let's start. Actually, I might even just do this for the time being. Count. Here's a trick. I can say count the number of enrollment records associated with the subject. I think. Hopefully that's right. I could just say star as well. Maybe I will. So the total number of tuples I'm going to end up with for each of these. All right, let's see. Cool. So it's number of enrollments, and as you can see, comp courses tend to feature pretty high. And the reason all the other courses are so low, it's really just I've got CSE majors who happen to take, these courses. So there'll be one or two CSE majors who take that course. What the hell for? Oh, well, good on them. And this one, who would take that course? What a waste of time. All right, so now what else do we need? We also need the term code, and we need the subject. Who can remember what the I don't think it's title, but I'll try that. It might be long name or something. Actually, probably is s.name. Thank you. Will do. And in order to make this work, the group by has to include all of those fields as well. Otherwise, it'll say you've used the field in your select statement, which isn't used in the group by. All right, hopefully that's correct-ish. There you go. So this makes the Python script trivial. All it's got to do is read those tuples and dump them out, except in a different order, because the count is meant to come first, but that's fine. Let's not worry about that. Now, somehow I've got to capture this, because I don't want to type it in again. Let's see. You have to try using a trackpad for this with one hand. Ha ha, gotcha. Cool. Now we got to go. I feel like grabbing one of the template files from the assignment. I think I can do that. In fact, I need to be slash, what's it called? Online. It's been lazy. Let's be even lazier. Huh. Thank you, Shell. All right, let's see. Copy tilde slash. You guys should be able to do this as well. What is the exact meaning of exclamation mark dollar? It's the last command line argument from the previous command. So I did make the week 08 Thursday. The last command line argument is week 08 Thursday. So it just saves a bit of typing. Yeah. Now bloody transcript is covering whatever I was doing. 21, I think I was up to 21 T3. Hopefully I was. Hang on. This is annoying. I'm going to move. Right. Now I can see what I'm typing. 21 T3 S. That's not going to do tab completion. I'm going to be annoyed if I type all this in and then discover that this file's not accessible. Tilde says kind of looks all right. I think I had these sitting there in individual files. Beautiful. All right, so move trans to ENRs. Once again, Shrek dollar uses inners. Get rid of that. But da-da-da. Right, 17S2. Let's see. The only reason I need regular expressions here was to check that the student ID looked like 7 digits. I don't need to do that here. So I can get rid of that. Oh, I don't know, might almost be worth talking about this stuff. So when people type in ZIDs, sometimes they put the Z, sometimes they don't. So we have to deal with that. So if there is a Z, then you just take the last 7 characters. If it's not, you just take the whole thing and assume, well, no, you don't assume. You check whether it's 7 digits. And the up arrow and the dollar basically means exactly 7 digits. Up arrow is start of string, dollar is end of string, and in between the start and end, we have \D7, i.e. 7 digits. But that's not what we've got here anyway. So in fact, the first command line argument is the term code. Right, so let's call it term. Right up here, let's as well give the right usage message. Start asking questions if there's anything in the Python that you don't get. All right, make a connection to the database, get student. No, we don't have to do that. We do need to get the term. Do we care? All right, I'll be lazy here. And if you type in some rubbish term, it will just return nothing. Might even generate database error. So in theory, I should be checking the term code. Oh yeah, may as well paste in my query. Oh. Query equals what does the first line of this file do exactly? Oh yeah, all right. Just let's hope that it's still in the buffer. Thank God. All right, that's good. It tells me that this script is intended to be interpreted by this program here. So if you want to have this script run directly from the command line, like if I wanted to do /enrs, I have to have somewhere in the script an indication of what kind of script it is, or which program is going to interpret it. So I have to just say, this is a Python script, and if you want to run this script, you run it using user bin Python 3. Does it work without it? Yeah, but that may be true, that's the default, but this script doesn't have a .py on the end. Which part args equals len grabs the number of arguments? Oh, okay. sys.argv is the array of arguments. Always includes the command name and then any other command line arguments. So the length of that basically tells you, gives you argc. It's exactly the same kind of thing as C. You got argv and argc there. And they mean exactly the same, the way I've written it there. All right, so we have our query. Now, you might say, oh, why don't we just interpolate the command line argument? Why do you have your query before the try? I don't know. I just felt like putting it there. Put all this junk up front. But I'm going to interpolate the query or interpolate the term value using execute. All right. I kind of like putting it up there because it's less clutter in the code part. I mean, yes, you can argue, hey, you're separating this critical thing from the place where it's used, but oh well. All right, so we need a cursor. We make ourselves a cursor. And then we need to do something with the cursor. And so we execute the query, but we fill in the value of the term that was given to us on the command line. All right, so I've run the query. And this is giving us things back in the right order. It's giving us all the stuff we want for, I guess you can call it tuple or something if you like, incur. So get a list of all the tuples. And then this one's really straightforward because you've done so much work in the database that you've got all of the information that you need up front, except you've got, what did I call it? Tuple. I'm just going to change the name to T. Oops. Yeah. You can tell I don't like typing long variable names, and especially at the moment. Now here we want the last part of the tuple to go first, and then we can do the rest in the relevant order. Oops. T1, I think I may have not allowed for enough. So this should actually be T3. Okay. Hopefully didn't get too much wrong in that lot. So I run that big query, fetch back all the tuples one at a time and dump out the contents of the tuple in the reverse order, or in a different order to what it comes back in the tuple. And of course, I could have put count star first in the select query, and then I could have printed everything out in the correct order. Let's see. Yeah, write that out. So you can see that read, write, execute. So it's got execute set. So I can actually run it like this. And in order to execute the script, it will look at the first line and see that hash bang and then say, this script has to be run by the interpreter user bin Python 3, and it will do that. All right, 17S2, let's see. Hooray. What? No. Oh. Yeah, good. All right, that's true. I haven't got that here. So that helpers thing is just, and I wasn't even using get student, so I didn't need it. It's just for you to put functions in that you might use in all three scripts. And I already put some functions in there for you. Bingo. All right. Now, one thing you see, oh, yuck. The formatting's been messed up when you've got and that many numbers of students. Oh dear, what can I do about that? Have I still got the editor running? No, I don't. Okay. What can I do about it? Come on, you all know about. Is there roughly a date for when these? Yeah, as soon as I can type them in with my arm, The plan was to do that last Tuesday, but unfortunately things intervened. I'll try and get them done today though. All right, so let's see. We're going to use a formatted string. Hey, what's that S doing there? Well, eventually it'll need to be there or something like it. Oops. A space. Bingo. When do you think we'll have instructions on how to handle the individual elements of the rules? Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that I might need to extend the deadline of the assignment, given that all this stuff has been delayed. But one thing I will talk about that in a minute anyway. A lot of the information is already there. The rules aren't that hard to handle. Those couple of examples I gave you have pretty much all of the info. First and second year computing studies. What are you talking about? Oops. All right, so I've put them in a formatted string, but haven't solved the problem because I didn't specify a format for the count of the number of students. Now, this is where I have no clue, but I have a vague feeling that it's something like, no, might help if I insert that. So all you guys who know about formatted strings in Python can tell me that. So the greater than means right-hand formatted to, what's the phrase? Anyway, the number appears to the right. It's a digits and there's 3 of them. So let's see if I manage to get that right. Oh, what a miracle. All right, so there you got 50. So now the count of students is in a field of width 3. Right, justified. That was the phrase I was looking for. And it's getting a bit boring looking at 17S2, but I'll do it one more time. And so you can see these larger ones. And if you're really worried about subjects that had more than 1,000 students, you change that 3D to 4D. Interesting. A lot of subjects. All right, let's try a different term. 20. There you go. La, la, la. Beautiful. Okay, now let's talk about the assignment. Got plenty of time. The first question is only, I mean, getting the list of courses that a student is enrolled in is pretty straightforward. It's kind of similar to what we were just looking at there, but, you know, the query is based on the student ID rather than a term ID, but you need all the same information that we just had. And printing it out in a nice format is fine. Let me see. So what should appear, I'll just try and make up something. I hope this doesn't contradict what I said in the database. Systems, and then it should show the grade and the mark. And of course it should be formatted nicely. So let's see, we got someone got a high distinction, and also should, I think I asked for you to print the number of units of credit that they received for that course. Maybe I didn't. But the number of units of credit is important. Why isn't Q2 split into two parts? Why would it be split into two parts? Oh, are you saying for? Yeah, thanks. That's right. You're saying you wanted one for programs and one for streams. It's pretty straightforward. Yes, that's right. I was about to talk about the WAM. Right, so you got a whole bunch of lines like that. And then you've got to calculate a total units of credit and a WAM. All right, so the units, where's my caps lock? Hey, done one. So how do you complete a course? You complete it by getting a pass mark. You complete a course by getting EC, I think, enrollment continuing. You get it from a XE. So if there's some particular course that's been credited for exchange, then you effectively complete the course, even though you didn't take it at UNSW. Completed equals yes, completed ends up in the WAM. That's true. But the things that don't go into the UOC are courses that you failed, or courses for which there is no mark, or courses for which there's a clear fail grade, somewhere like AF. So anything like that doesn't go into the total UOC. FL does not have UOC for this UOC. Okay, so basically the UOC I'm talking about here is the one that counts towards your graduation. Sure, you can put it on the very last line. That was the plan.
Oh, hang on a sec. Wait. So when I think of WAM on my transcript,
yeah,
it does take into account. It doesn't take into account AW and all that.
yeah.
But it does take into account the failures in UF and all that, because that's counted towards your WAM.
Correct.
Yep. But for this question, for the question you're asking, you're saying UOC are all. UOC are all.
There's two UOC values here.
Yeah. Okay.
There's this one.
Yeah.
For all the completed courses, And there's what I call the UOC for WHAM or something.
Yeah.
Which includes everything that you attempted. Wouldn't include things like LE because no mark has been awarded, but oops. So for all the courses that you attempted, whether you passed them or not.
Yep.
And that was what that table
Yeah.
was trying to make the point in the grades
Yeah.
and marks thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for the question one, it will be UOC for the WHAM, right? To work out your WHAM. Is that right?
Well, both. I want you to work out both.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, work out the both. You'll see some of all completed courses for the graduates. You'll see for the WHAM.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So in fact, the sum of UOC for all completed courses becomes important in question 3, where the program that you're enrolled in has a certain number of units of credit that you're required to complete. And your UOC has to add up to at least that much. All right. I mean, UOCs, yes, it's a nice number to have in question 1, but it's important for graduation status. What? Oh, I wasn't jump scared. I don't even know where the raise hand thing goes up. Yeah. All right. So the sum of UOC for all attempted courses, and I think where are we here? If we go to assignments, we go to assignment 2. I think I made a mistake of assuming that you guys knew more than you do about the way stuff is calculated here. So see this column here? Oh, better make it bigger. It's probably big enough. So the UOC column is the one that goes to UOC for successfully completed courses. So obviously, if you fail a course, you don't count it towards the UOC. But the UOC for WHAM, yes, you count it towards that.
Yeah.
I really
So question 1, when you say UOC for WHAM, look at the table under WHAM and then say, okay, yeah. So basically UOC is coming from a particular table, right? Which we know which table we're talking about, right? And you have to join it with some other table, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so to get that UOC for that course code, for that grade, go and find it in that table, which returns you either 2 or 3 or 6 UOC, right?
That's right. It's in the subjects.
All right. So maybe you need to make it clear, because I think some people are confused about where's my UOC for the WHAM, and they were looking at UOC for the WHAM. UOC, they thought UOC here was for the WHAM, whereas I that one is actually to help you calculate how much UOC you have to enable you to complete your degree, right? For example, SY is showing as UOC, yes. So I count the SY grades UOC.
Yep.
But for WHAM, I can't count it, unfortunately. Even though I got a HD for one of my math courses, I can't calculate in my WHAM anymore because it was SY.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you haven't got a mark that you can use for the WHAM. if you just get satisfactory. Normally, I haven't seen a counterexample. If you've got a grade of SY, you don't have a mark. So there's nothing to use for WHAM. So that's why that's like that. And similarly for a credit transfer and exchange, you don't have a mark that you can use for WHAM, but it does count as a completed course. So it incorporates into the UOC. So the reason I didn't write UOC for WHAM is the WHAM calculation also includes adding up or doing a weighted sum of all the marks. So it's not just the UOC for WHAM, it's also the weighted sum of the marks. Yeah, good on me, one-handed John. That can be. All right, we have no idea about our WHAMs. Yeah, well, now you do. See, you've learned something. That's how your WHAM's calculated. Right, the only tricky one, I think, was AF, which also doesn't have a mark, but the mark is counted as 0. Which I didn't realize that for a while either. I was giving people AFs because I thought, well, at least that won't count towards their WHAM, but it turns out that it does. Total mark, number of courses, not quite. It's not just the total mark, you've got to multiply by the units of credit for each course. So the WHAM calculation, let's go back here. Now, when considering honours, forget about honours level, we're not worried about that. But you're right, for honours, there's some kind of different calculation that comes into play. It's not exactly WHAM. Oh, yeah, well, that's probably true too, Abby, that honours levels is only using courses that come from a program, from the program for which you're getting an honours level 4. Yeah, no, I don't care about honours calculation for this. All right, so UOC for WHAM. So we got to get the this is hard to type, all right. Sum over all of the entries like this one up here. The UC for that course multiplied by the mark for that course. Hopefully that kind of half makes sense. I suppose I should put parentheses just to make it clear what this is applying to. And yes, you're right, it should have been in the spec in the first place. Yeah, blah, blah. Let me just scroll back through the questions. So essentially, we only calculate WHAM with the grades list as yes in the WHAM column. Correct. The one counterexample to that is AF, where you don't have a mark at all, but you count the mark as 0. Yeah, all right. Cool. And then, of course, the weighted sum of marks divided by the UOC for WHAM gives you the WHAM. So and as usual, I'll stick this stuff in. Oh, in fact, I'll put this in the spec. Equals weighted sum, or I can't be bothered typing the whole thing, divided by right, so that's where you get the WAM from. Where weighted sum means weighted sum of marks. Now, why have I got two I's up there? Should be sum of the. Anyway, that's for each of those entries. Is the yeah, yes, it is. Correct. All right. Right, so that's that. I think I'll just keep typing in this. I don't think I gave this thing a name. I'll call it S2, so it will be obvious. Right, anything else on Q1? Can you, what weighted sum of marks? Can I explain it? No.
No, can you write down the weighted sum of marks just in case we forgot it?
God, can't you?
Just in case someone's gonna say, what is that?
Can you extrapolate?
I'm sorry, it's not me. It's just that we're gonna have a question again on the forum, like 1,000 people asking again. And I thought, oh no, we don't want to go through this again.
All right. Happy? All right, what about question 2? Oh, apart from the WAM calculation, question 1's pretty straightforward. It's a query that you need to ask to produce a bunch of lines like that. What does it's just that I'm trying to say, well, you know, let's imagine this thing here is the first line of output, and then there'll be other lines of output. So that would be I equals 1, I equals 2, I equals 3. Can we assume that that's a lovely bit of typing there? Weighted sum is what? Weighted sum of arcs. Yeah, because it's got the word mark in the line. 30 computer science course. I as in loop, correct. Soon Jess will have, I doubt it. Somehow, maybe I should stick another one. Aha, I know what to do. Let me go up here. Output line 1. Oh no, I'll make that 2. Oh shit. All right, I'll make that 2. And I won't do that, I'll do that. Here we got someone who's really smart and manages to sneak through prog fundamentals. Notice that you're going to have to do a bit of formatting to make sure these things line up. I cheated there. You can't do it by, oh no, here we go. Yeah, this will show. So there'll have to be a bit of blank padding there to make sure it lines up. This person is so smart that they got and could therefore go straight on to format string in Python. Yes, quite right. And what? No, that's fine. I don't mind the questions. We got to sort these out so that you can have a decent go at the assignment, because you might learn something useful. Oh, 18S2, no, 19, T1. Why is that in capitals? I don't know. I don't care. It's staying like that. That's how it came out of the... Yeah, exactly. So the point I was going to make here was, even though this person is so clever, they managed to fail that. Now here, they're going to get 0 units of credit. So I might even put that there to indicate that's how many units of credit they were awarded for that course. So the question about what is this underscore I? I equals 1, I equals 2, I equals 3. So we're iterating through those 3 courses. Okay, great. VI is fixed. You should all be astonished about how good. Damn, it works pretty well with one hand, you know. Sad but realistic. Well, I don't know about that. Kevin's a good lecturer. All right, so question 2. Oh, there's already some examples. Let's have a look at the example. Magic tilde, yes, exactly. What the hell? What? You can see it. Good. What the hell did I? Yeah, I know. I got examples from the spec, just Q2 examples. Why is it not linked properly from there? That's bizarre. Maybe what is it? Yeah. Oh, thanks. Good. Now this isn't going to work nicely. Yeah. All right, let's go back to here. Here's a trick. View directly in browser. All right. And now what I actually, oh God, all these bloody Zoom things keep getting in the road. Did I? I must have put a direct link somewhere so that people could actually see. Yeah, this one. All right. So if you go and look in the database, which we could, the rules for 307, explaining it, what? Yeah. Okay, all right. Let's see if we can go into the database. So here's the relevant table. Tables. All right, so programs obviously has the code. So that's what we need to look for. And I think the sample I gave you already checks that it's a valid code. So here's the link between the rules table and the programs table. Surprise, surprise, program rule. Here's the rules table. Blah, blah, blah. So here's your min and your max and the rule type and the AO group, which is where you find the interesting information. But let's see if I can do something sensible. Select. Pretty sure these are the things. Rule name, AG definition from. Oh. Yeah, the thing is, yeah, there are stream rules and program rules, but what you get out the other, once you do the joins, you're just getting out a list of things like what I'm doing here. Programs P, join. Program rules on the program. Join. What next? Rules. Oh yeah, rules. Join rules on the ID is the one used in. Oh damn! Already used on yeah, what? Really? No, I haven't used join to. Oh, yes, I have. You are correct. Right, I'll go and fix that in a minute. And finally, I want to, I don't normally put the join there. I must have been lazy. Join academic object groups. AOG on dot AO group. Lucky that's still up at the top of the screen, because otherwise I wouldn't have remembered what it was called. Equals AOG dot ID. Haha. All right, apart from the syntax error, that's and I'll just do that for the time being, since I know I'm going to go and have to fix it. All right, probably want something like p.code as well, since I'm not restricting to that program. So this is just to get me a list of all the rules and associated academic object groups for a given program. Yes, all right, thank you, plural. Min max, oh, you want me to print min max as well? doesn't matter. But yes, sure, you could add that. Where is it here? Rules. So you notice that when you go from singular to plural, you often avoid being associated with a Postgres keyword. I'll just see how wide this ends up. Oh, God. Rule.name. Oh, I did mean .name. Well, eventually I'll get there. .name. Hooray. Finally. All right. So we see here is a rule for 3707. It's the BE on streams rule. Let's just make that bigger. BE on streams. Aha, that's where that comes from. And here's a list of all these stream codes. And when you go and look them up in the database, you find most of those streams don't exist. The only couple that exist are the CSE streams. Well, is there a list of stream codes? Go and have a look at the handbook. So all this stuff is based on what's in the handbook. Let's see. Handbook. I haven't got all my bookmarks on this computer, which is what the hell's it called? Handbook. Anyone happen to know off the top of their head? Why not a separate table linking ID to stuff? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want me to? Yeah, quite right. Yeah, I could have sworn that was the URL for the handbook. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes when I've typed it in directly, it hasn't worked. But it's worked when I've linked to it.
Yeah, all right. Maybe. Yeah, what a piece of crap. Oh well, not to worry. 3707. All right. Oh, and of course you've got to go. Even though there's only one entry, it gives you a list of length 1. All right. Disciplinary component. In fact, let's just expand it all. All right. Students must complete one of 168 UC of the following to satisfy the core requirements of this degree. Look, there's a stream code, there's a stream code, there's a stream code, and it's the same list of stream codes. Oh, shit, you're right. I'm running out of battery. That's pretty bad. Oh, it's too difficult for me to reach the power supply. No, we'll keep going until the battery runs out. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, can I reach it? It's too painful to stand up. I don't want to. Oh, let's see. Yes, it would be useful if we could keep going. Oh. Don't laugh. Yeah, the power supply is not in a great spot. Is that going to work? I'm scared to kneel down. I might never be able to get up again. That might work. Oh, there I am. All right, and we're plugged in, and yes, it's going to keep going. All right, so yeah, we've got a list of all these stream codes because you are required to take one of them. And if we wanted to find out that there really was one, we could modify that query. and add in these requirements. Oof. Just get settled. I never low enough chair. It's very annoying. Max requirement. Ouch. Right, so here we go. So the minimum number, so there's a rule here that talks about streams. Minimum number of streams is 1, maximum number of streams is 1. And this is the list of streams that you get to choose from. What? Yeah. And this is only temporary accommodation. I was very happy back in the old place where I had a nice setup and where it meant I didn't have to go to work. Therefore, I wasn't near a staircase. Therefore, things would be much easier. But there you go. That's what happens when you move house. All right. Maybe if I change that to this format, it might be a little bit easier. Right. So program code, the name of the rule, minimum requirement, maximum requirement, blah, blah, blah. Then if you have a look at, I'll tell you the other thing I should have put, which would make things even easier to understand, is the rule type, because we've got all these rule types and they affect how you do the output. All right, so this is a what? I won't break it. Here, yeah, maybe. Well, in that case, so I noticed someone mentioned before, why don't we have a separate table? And that's certainly possible. So we could have had the academic object group defined by links, by an intermediate table that linked the group to the members of the group, where the members of the group were all streams. So, and in fact, that's the way the database used to work, but I simplified it for this assignment. Yeah. Maybe you didn't need to. Maybe you could have done the string splitting in Python. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so there's a little bit of a trade-off in where you do things in all of this. The would have been, right, spending a bunch of queries. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. You'd only need this one query to fetch this list of, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah. All right, true. Yeah, I'll buy that. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah, once you've got this list of streams, you've got to get the title as well. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll buy that. Good point. Right, anyway, so this is a DS query whose type name I came up with a long time ago. Done stream is basically what that means. Done a stream. All right. I mean, Marie's making a point too, that what you could have done up front is get a list of all the streams into a Python dictionary, and that would be a single query, which would be a bit crappy if we had all of the streams, but given the number of streams that we've currently got, what if the streams change in the meantime? What between when you ask that first query and when you ask the second query? Unlikely. But who knows? But yeah, I agree. String splitting, I didn't think it was that difficult. In fact, there's a built-in function for doing that, isn't there? Yes, yes. I'd be interested to know how you did it, because there's a function that'll do it in one go and give you back something you can iterate over. Uh-oh. All right. Sorry I mentioned it. Maybe you can go back and have a look. Yeah, so we have to do, how many streams do we have to do? At least one, and at most one, in other words, one. Industrial training is a core course. We don't bother with min and maxi because you always have to do every one of the courses that's listed in the core course definition. Notice, oh, good. Oh, yeah. Might be the way I was thinking. Anyway, I won't mention that. Oh, all right. Yeah. So here we've got a list of courses of length 1, which is why in the thing, where is it? Scroll down here. Yeah, we don't bother saying you've got to do one of these courses because there is only one course. All right, so we just print the title of the rule and the course and its title. And then, of course, we got Gen Ed. And if you look down here, you can see 3707, it's a Gen Ed rule calls RISE, general education, minimum and maximum. If the min and max are the same, then you simply write the number. If they were different, then you have to write between 6 units of credit and 18 units of credit of blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure if there's an example in the rules for 3778. There might be. Oh, let's keep scrolling. We might find something. All right. So similarly, computer science. Oh, bugger, it's using more, so I can't go back. All right. So the first rule for computer science was a DS rule, where you've got to do one stream. That's actually not quite realistic. I think you're allowed to do more than one stream in COMP3311. But there's the list of streams. They should all be in the database, as yes, you can see. Oh, no, I haven't got examples. All right, I'll have to put an example in. Yep, so that's the stream rule. Then we got a couple of core course rules. Got to do that course, those courses, sorry, you got to do all of them. You got to do all of these 3 courses. So you do Math 1081 and you do either Math 1131 or Math 1141. So you can see how that's displayed on output. Advanced core courses, all right, choice between regular algos and advanced algos, COMP3311, COMP4920, Gen Ed, 12 out of 12. Let's see if there are some examples. Well, here's an example of a P. So CC, you always have to do all of the courses in the list. So we don't need to say min and max requirement. But for something like a program elective, then you have to say how many you're required to do, because often you get a very long list and you obviously don't have to take all of them. These things are units of credit. So you've got to take at least 18, at most 18. And since all of the courses pretty much are 6 units of credit, that means you've got to take 3 courses from that group. But in the output, I put 18 units of credit from ADK courses and then give the list of ADK courses. Prescribed electives, 30 out of 30. Now we've got, I didn't put the rule definition type. So all of these things so far have been enumerated rules. This is first example of a pattern rule, a pattern academic object group. I might go and add that to the query. There was not an example yet of PE pattern. Well, here's one right in front of you. I think all right. Oh, maybe I did. Thanks, Postgres, for telling me what my mistake was. All right, let me see. Okay, so you can see this is an enumerated list of blah, 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 an enumerated list of length 1. There was a pattern, Gen Ed. Okay, so that's a pattern. Gen Ed, this is a funny pattern anyway. If you expand that pattern, you'd probably get hundreds of answers, and we don't want to spew out hundreds of answers. So we just say general education. Comp Sci majors, an enumerated list. Foundational computing courses, an enumerated list. Comp Sci maths, an enumerated list, although we got these funny entries here for alternatives. Another enumerated list. Gen Ed pattern list, blah, blah, blah. Where are we? I'm sure we saw enumerated. Described electives pattern. Yeah, there you go. So for these pattern type things, not for Gen Ed, you can just put general education. That's fine. But prescribed electives, put don't expand the patterns because you would take up too much space. The way to print that would be take each of the patterns on a separate line, and really that's about all you can do. In fact, I'm even kind of thinking 30 units of credit of prescribed electives, and then just give that list actually as is. So don't bother trying to expand it. I don't think Yeah, but how are you going to work out that? Because it's not necessarily just going to be comp studies. I think it's simpler just to spew out that list. I hope someone hasn't gone and done some other way. So for a pattern, oh, oh well. No, you haven't finished yet. How can you say that? For a pattern.
I extracted out. I extract 4, 6, 9 and comp word from manipulating string. Yeah. So you could do that.
All right. If you
but no, but to make our life easier, I'm going to study for the exam. Whatever that's easier for us will be good. Correct. I'm not complaining.
Just so for a pattern, just spew out the pattern itself.
Okay. Cool.
But for an enumerated list, they don't tend to be huge, so you can put all of the course codes. What do you mean? Wait. So the patterns.
There's no waiting, Matt. There's no waiting. Yeah, that's right.
We just write the pattern.
Spit it out. Just spit it out that. Yeah. Oh, he'll show us example, right? He'll send up example. It'll be easy. It's not like.
Yeah, I'll put it.
It's not like, yeah.
We don't actually match the pattern. Oh, for question 2, no, you don't have to. But for question 3, yes, you do. We do in question 3, yes, correct. So the way this is set up, questions 1 and question 2 are relatively straightforward. Question 3 involves using ideas from question 1 and question 2, but is a little bit more difficult. And so I think I better talk about that. Is everyone reasonably happy with how to spew out this stuff? So it's really just getting the list of rules for the particular program or stream and then displaying it in the appropriate format. Are there cases where min exists? Oh, sorry. Good point. Yes. If min exists and max is empty, then say at least, and then the min number. If min is empty and max is not empty, then say up to 6 or up to 24 units of credit, whatever it is. If they're both non-empty and they are not equal, then say between min and max units of credit for blah, blah, blah. I'm going to document all this afternoon. Yeah, so there's only 4 cases. They're both empty. You don't need to do anything. For those cases, you're talking core courses or something. So you just got to take all of them. If they're both non-empty, but they're equal, then you simply write the number, either min or max, because they're equal. If min is empty and max isn't, then you write up to X units of credit, max units of credit. If min is not empty and max is, then you write at least min units of credit. And if they're both not empty and they're different, then you write between min and max. All right, last chance on question 2. So I guess I think we've seen pretty much all the different kinds of examples. MIT project courses, blah, blah, blah. Once again, that's an alternative. So you either do one or the other. Do we remove brackets for pattern? All right. So this is actually getting on to question 3. Hang on, I want to. All right, I'll talk about that anyway. So for question 3, you're effectively running through the transcript. And for each course in the transcript, you want to see which of the rules is it related to. So if they've done COMP3311 and they're doing 8543, you can check all of the rules of 8543. And if you find a match in any of those rules, then you can say, okay, they've completed 6 units of credit from this rule. Now, the way I'd be doing these things is I would actually turn these things into lists. It's easier for looking down here. I think you'll have to, yeah. So you turn that into a set, whatever you want to call it in Python. And each time you match one of these objects, you can remove it from the set. So the idea is at the end of the progression checking, once you've gone through all of the entries in the transcript, you want to see what's left here and you want to display that at the end of the transcript. So question 3 is basically you display a transcript and then at the end you can stick the word still remaining and print all of the courses that they haven't yet taken. Now, when you got groups of courses like this, you can't really just remove the courses from the list and there'd still be tons left. What you need to do, I suppose you could, but you really need to count the number of units of credit that they've actually taken from this group. And then at the end, so let's say they've taken 24 units of credit from courses in this group. You would then say 12 units of credit from the 80 courses still need to be done. So yeah, so enumerated ones, easy, you just remove entries from the list. And for something like this, you just remove that entirely if they take either one or the other. Now, as for working out patterns, what I would do is convert the pattern into a regular expression and then see if the current course, so as you iterate through the list of transcript courses, does the current course match this pattern? If not, no worries. In fact, you could even do that for enumerated types as well. You could turn this into a regular expression pattern. I'll let you work out how to do that. It's actually quite easy. And could do it like that. I guess, Matthew, is there a way, anyway, to do it without regex? Yeah, I guess what you could do is you could take, so most of these regular expressions have comp4 #### or something like that. You could chuck away the hashes and then look at your course code, look at the first 5 characters in your course code and see if it matches what's left without the hashes, and then that'd be a cheap way of doing regular expression matching.
So this is easier doing regular expression matching in the PostgreSQL than in trying to do some string manipulation in Python then.
You can do regular expression matching in Python as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Didn't you see in one of those template files I gave you? There was an import of RE where I did regular expression matching on.
For the first one, the student.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I've been, yeah, all right. Have a look. Thank you. Yeah.
Are there patterns other than comp ###? Yes, there are patterns like comp4 ###, and so on. But I don't think there are any where there are hashes before real characters. I mean, it's easy enough to have a look through the database if you want to check that. Yeah, if you want to do regular expression matching, it's easy. You take the hashes and turn them into dots, and bingo, you've got a regular expression. And you take the commas and turn them into pipe symbols. Bingo, you've got a regular expression. So it's actually relatively easy to do that. Yeah, the gen star. Oh, yeah, good point. Gen star. Yeah, same thing. You could just turn all the hashes into dots and try and match the title of the course. Or, as I said, you just get rid of all the hashes. And, you know, in the case of that gen pattern that you were just talking about, you've got 3 characters left. You look at the first 3 characters of the course code and see if they're equal to the first 3 characters of the pattern that are remaining after you've got rid of the hashes. Right, so question 3 is basically go through a transcript. So you already know how to do that from question 1. For each course code that you see, you got to try and check whether it's in a rule. Now, the priority that you do this checking is important. So let's imagine that COMP3311 is a core course, but there's also a rule that's COMP49 ####. So COMP4920 could match either of those rules. And if you match the pattern first, then you're going to say, let's say that's program electives, you'd put COMP4920 in the program electives. And when you came to the end, you'd say, wait on, they haven't taken COMP4920 from the core courses. So the priority is the first thing you check is core courses for the program. Next thing you check is program electives. The next things you check are free electives and gen ed. Okay. So if you've got a course, it doesn't match any of your core courses, doesn't match any of the program electives, and doesn't look like a gen ed, then you can count it as a free elective. So free electives, you just forget about the pattern altogether. I think we put in a pattern free ### and just say, all right, I'm going to count this course as a free elective. Yeah, so that's the order that you should look at things. but course by course, decide which rule it satisfies and then somehow flag that. And of course, you know, you only do this if you pass the course. What else? Yeah, so if you've got Python data structures for all of these things, and in fact, you may notice that we have multiple sets of core courses. One thing you could do, which would work perfectly well, is to merge all of those enumerated lists of core courses and just have a single list of core courses. Actually, that's a stupid idea because you probably want to specify the name. All right, ignore me. So yeah, just so you run through the priority CCP, GFE, correct? Correct. All right. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so you do that, you run through the transcript, you keep track of what courses they've passed, what groups they've come from, have they satisfied all the requirements of that group and so on. And then you have a second phase where you run through all the rules, and presumably at this stage you've got all the rules in Python, and you look at any rules where you've got enumerated lists and there are some courses that are still left. So that's what I was saying about, you know, you delete courses from lists once you've passed them. So anything that's left gets printed in the second phase of the, if you like, transcript. Notice I only lifted up one hand to do my air quotes. So this certainly applies to core courses. You can easily find out what courses they haven't done. For PEs, like the list that we've got there, it's probably not worth trying to print out the courses that they still could do. I would just say units of credit. You still need to take units of credit from ADK courses, something like that. And that's it. Oh, and you can put a total units of credit, and you could, if there was nothing left for them to do, then you could probably print the phrase student eligible for graduation. And everyone would get excited. Yeah. So like I said, it's like iterating through the courses for the transcript. Print out another line that tells us what left. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure that you phrased that question quite nicely, but yes.
Yeah, so like for each course thingy-bob, each course taken meaning that
each course taken and passed goes in the first part of the transcript.
Yes, which is like the question one.
Yeah.
So for that line, which is the same as question one, plus you got the rule name that we need to put that in.
Yeah.
The next line should show us what's left.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good point. I didn't say that.
So is that like a query assignment?
You just reminded me. In the first part of the transcript, as well as printing out the course and the mark and grade and units of credit, you should also print out which rule it has satisfied. So let's see, let's find an easy one. Oh yeah, here. So if as you scan through the transcript, you see course comp, 4121, you say comp 4121, whatever its title is, can't remember. Mark 75, grade, distinction, 6 units of credit towards 80K courses. Yeah. And you just do that for each of the courses that they've passed. I would omit from the progression check any courses that they've failed. So the only thing that you see in the first part of the pseudo transcript is courses that they've passed or completed. It's interesting, I noticed some of those exchange things don't have real course codes, so I'm not sure what to do with them. I guess one thing you could do is simply add them into the total units of credit and then check at the end, even if they're short on program electives or something, then I guess the exchange courses could account for that. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we simply don't have enough information from the exchange courses. Do we need to print out the name of rule for Q1? No, you don't. It's kind of not relevant. Who cares about consistency? They're totally different functionalities, those two things. It just so happens that, yes, you can use some of the infrastructure that you use for Q1 for Q3. And you can probably use some of the infrastructure from Q2 for Q3. Oh. Right, so I'll write this up and stick it in the course. Have we got no, because I was too busy trying to get assignment 2 working, and then I fell over, and now the bloody phone's ringing, but I'm not going to go and get it. It's too far away. So yes, I will have examples for everything. I'll try and do that today. At least I can sit relatively comfortably, although typing very slowly. Go do other subjects. What are you talking about? I'm not teaching other subjects. Oh yeah, if you like. Yeah.
So just so that I'm not confused again, sorry to bring you this up, but I think according to the grades and rules, FL is actually in the WAM as in yes, but for UCO as in for the progression, it's no.
Yeah, it's not.
But in your text,
think so.
in your text thing, you actually wrote FL is equals to 0 UOC.
Oh,
you have to, you have to count FL. Yeah, I know this stuff because I failed the math course, which was taken by someone.
That's for Q1, not for Q3.
Yeah, I know. But
So what are you asking?
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, thank you. People are really confused. Okay.
We can stop harassing you until it's ready. Yeah, but all the people here are only a small fraction of the course, and everyone else will harass me until they're ready. Set or dictionary? It depends. I don't know. It depends on the context. For some things, a set makes sense. For some things, a dictionary does. Oh, all right. What else? I'll try to avoid going back to bed. No, they do it in Oh, yeah, you could. That's true. So there's a little bit of a, there's trade-off here. How much do you do in Python? How much do you do in SQL or PSQL, PSQL? And you can do a lot of stuff in the database and set stuff up to give to your Python script, so your Python script is relatively small. Are we meant to be concerned about speed? You're always meant to be concerned about speed. I'll give you, what was it in assignment 1? Was it 3 seconds or something? Yes, it will factor into your mark. If I have to sit there for 60 seconds before a transcript appears, I'm not going to be impressed. If I have to sit there for more than 10 seconds before a transcript appears, I won't be impressed. So let's arbitrarily say that 10 seconds is the limit. Yeah, that's right. Correct. So regardless of marks, regardless of anything else, you should always try to make your queries as efficient as possible. And what? Yeah, well, we're trying to do better than what UNSW provides. Sure, I agree. I wait 60 seconds for my actual transcript. Wouldn't it be much better if you could get it in 5 seconds? Or even 5 seconds you'd notice as well, I expect. Yeah. Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're going to be as bad as UNSW. The goal here is to be better. And the WAM, I don't know. I'd be surprised if it produced the wrong WAM. You should be ashamed that your code is so slow. Huh, there you go. Good on me. When did I say that? And if I said, why are you doing 3311 if you've already done 9315? Or you just, oh, okay. Yes, you should be ashamed. I agree. We should always be trying to do things efficiently once we've got them correct. There's no point in having a really fast transcript that's wrong. Oh, really? Someone had to fix your WAM. Huh, interesting. Well, we should be trying to do better and more efficient than, more correct and more efficient than UNSW does. And then they can install this system instead of their own system, their own very expensive system, as I'm sure I pointed out at the start of the blurb at the start of the assignment. It cost a lot of money to build my UNSW, and it's still not up to scratch in a lot of ways. Yes, it was really 100 million. Part of which was to buy the server. I think they might actually still be running the same server. So they had to buy Oracle. They had to buy a server, a big server to run Oracle. I think it was at the start of the assignment spec. But certainly the initial upfront cost was 60 million, and they've spent money making changes. Yeah, the whole process was a bit of a joke. they had this little presentation to us saying, we're going to get this PeopleSoft thing so it will run straight out of the box, and hey, everything will work fine. But then no, it didn't quite do what they wanted, and they had to get a bunch of expensive consultants in to try and fix it.
This is Oracle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm
Oracle.
familiar with Oracle. Yeah, because I worked there, and also I worked for a company that was having to upgrade and do all these things, and it really cost a lot of money for them. Yeah,
correct. So they could have asked you guys to write a system and it would have been better and cost less. We could make an assignment and then you'd write it and you'd pay $5,000 each for the privilege of writing something for UNSW. Doesn't that sound great? That's a win-win-win for UNSW. Slave labor, it's worse than slave labor. You're actually paying to do it. Yeah, trouble is, I mean, it's all very nice that we could do this, but UNSW will never say yes to using anything produced by CSE. I don't know why. But there you go. Well, they actually did use something produced by CSE. The original academic proposal system was written based on this database, in fact, and written by one of our graduates by himself. Worked fine for 5 years. Then they insisted on changing it. Oh yeah, WebCMS is used in CSE and nowhere else. It has a few things that are a little bit CSE oriented. In theory, you probably use it elsewhere. I mean, I don't know who wants a 4th-year project. They upgraded Moodle, good on them. All right, any case, what's the time? Oh, it's 11:35. I think I might go and have a lie down for a bit and then, yes, quite right. Yep. Yeah, all right, so thanks for coming.
So we won't have the session tomorrow, we'll have the ones on Tuesday again, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And you might want to extend the assignment too, because I think people are screaming now with all the can't find examples and all this stuff. So
all right.
Yeah, you know, because it wasn't linked, so I think people are just looking at the question too now.
Oh,
so
that was a bit silly.
Yeah, anyway,
All right.
yeah.
Okay. See you later, everybody.